Places and spaces, another place, another space. We're here today in the Lower East Side, now known as the East Village, formerly Alphabet City. Tompkins Square Park, in case you don't know, is a former Stuyvesant Meadows and was a farm. Why are we here in the Lower East Side? Well, it's because of the great Charlie Parker, Charlie Yardbird Parker. Charlie Parker was a virtuoso jazz musician, alto saxophonist, composer, band leader, who was known for his rhythmic style and solos. Charlie Parker also was one of the inventors of the music called bebop, or the modern music, along with Dizzy Gillespie, Thelonious Monk, and Billy Strayhorn in the 1940s. His tunes were Blob City, A Night in Tunisia, Cherokee, Autumn in New York, just to name a few. Charlie Parker was born August 29th, 1920 in Kansas City, Kansas, and began playing the sax in the 5th grade, became a professional by the time he was age 15. He got the name Bird because while on a tour bus, they ran a music tour bus. They ran into a chicken who was dead. Charlie Parker picks them up, as legend says, and he picked it up, plucked it, dressed it, and had it for dinner that night. Thus, Charlie Parker. But how did Charlie Parker get down here? Well, 1939, he arrived in New York to pursue his music career, first as a dishwasher, and then he started playing with various bands, groups, and gained quite a following because of his incredible soloist music sounds. But as I said before, how did he get here in the Lower East Side? Well, in 1943, he met Chan Richardson, a dancer in West 52nd Street in the jazz capital of the world, and they began a relationship, all right? Charlie Parker already had been married over 3 times and had been moving all over the place. But in 1949, he settled in with Chan Parker and her daughter. They moved to the Lower East Side here at 422 East 11th Street and had an apartment here with Chan and a daughter, Kim. And then finally in 1950, early 1950, when they actually moved here, Charlie Parker moved to 151 Avenue B, row houses that have been converted to apartments. A very spacious apartment, a ground floor with a courtyard. And between the time of 1951 and 1954 that they were here, they had 2 kids as well, Pre and Baird. And they had quite, as Chan said, the middle class life, having people over on Sundays, dinners, and him, Charlie Parker, walking around in the parks and going to the bars. But at the same time, the other side of that, in 1951, Charlie Parker's cabaret license was canceled. Now, you might say, what's big about that? Charlie Parker could no longer play in New York City. So he had to get on the road and record, play wherever he could. But he was known internationally in Canada, Europe, and the United States, all while this going on, 2 years away from his children, which caused him depression as well, and drinking. But at the same time, it was the most incredible time for him in recording. He was making all of these records along with Latin bands, big bands, as well as small groups. 1953, the incredible Toronto recording at Massey Hall. With all this happening, in 1954, his daughter passed away from congenital heart failure. This caused Parker, Chan, and his wife a great strife. Charlie Parker tried to commit suicide twice, okay? And finally, they had to move away from here to Pennsylvania. They shortly after that separated. Charlie Parker returns back to New York City, trying to make recordings, and made his last public appearance March 1955 at Birdland, the very place that was named after and could barely get into play. March 12, 1955, Charlie Parker passes. Now, with all of that that's going on, the exploitation, he died penniless with no money, okay? Hardly any money, all right? But his international legendary status really expanded. And that happened because of poet Ted Jones and the other beat poets who wrote all over New York City on chalk, "Bird lives, Bird lives, Bird lives." Here in Tompkins Square Park, they started in 1993 the Charlie Bird Park Jazz Festival, where various musicians to celebrate his birthday of every year, which I have been to as well. Now, he's gaining all this legendary status after his passing. Finally, in 1994, actually, the U.S. House of Interior and Landmarks names his apartment 151 Avenue B. It's an apartment, mind you, a landmark, okay? Charlie Parker gained more international status, more fame than what he ever got during his life. I guess that's a good thing. Bird lives on Places and Spaces.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy and especially the genius of Charlie Parker. Can we get a big hand for Charlie Parker?